The following program does not offer personal medical advice. Please consult your doctor before using any treatment or product we cover. Welcome to Go to Health Media with your host, Jonathan Marks. We provide a welcoming environment where experts educate you on important health topics, answer your questions, and provide information from which you can benefit in consultation with your doctor. You can visit and subscribe to the show at gotohealthmedia.com. And now,
hey all, Jonathan from Go to Health. Let me ask, how do you sustain your energy throughout the day? I try to do it with the morning cup of coffee and then one in the afternoon as a pick-me-up, and of course my daily vitamins. But what if I told you I was trying something new that's working for me just great? It provides me with sustained energy and focus, with caffeine for alertness, but balanced by amino acids and taurine to prevent jitters or crashes. It also has a blend of B vitamins, L-carnitine, and choline to power my energy and mental clarity, even if I didn't get the best night's sleep. It's also packed with vitamins A, C, and E to support my immune health, even with my days of packed schedules. And it's sugar-free and what I'll call flavor-forward. I alternate between 3 delicious flavors: mandarin orange, mango strawberry, and fruit punch. Just 1 small scoop of mix in 8 ounces of water and I'm done. Boom, off to the races. This formula boasts 32 years of brand expertise and thousands of 5-star reviews from millions of users. And it's a woman-owned company. What's this product I'm yakking about? It's called Spark Energy Plus Focus from Advocare. Spark Energy Plus Focus. For Go to Health listeners, I've scored 30% off and free shipping. Go to drinkspark.com and use code GOTOHEALTH at checkout. That's code GOTOHEALTH at drinkspark.com. Let's tackle the day together with Spark Energy Plus Focus.
Here is Jonathan Marks. Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Marks. Welcome back to another show of Go to Health. Remember, you can subscribe to us at gotohealthmedia.com so that you don't miss a show. You can also offer us a testimonial so that more people learn about us, and thank you for doing so in advance. So today's show is all about the changing dynamics of nursing. Nurses are the unsung heroes and the lifeblood of our healthcare system. Today's nurses face many challenges, including emotional exhaustion, high workloads, high levels of stress, burnout, and workforce shortages. 2 years after research highlighted major challenges facing the U.S. nursing workforce, the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, that's NCSBN, has released the first look at the most comprehensive nursing workforce data available today. This new research, gathered from a national survey of 800,000 nurses, offers critical insight into how the profession is faring since the COVID-19 pandemic and what challenges remain. What are the far-reaching implications for the long-term sustainability of the nursing profession and the necessary changes to alleviate stress and reduce burnout? With us to talk about this today is Brendan Martin, PhD. He's the Director of Research at the National Council of State Boards of Nursing. Brendan has co-authored more than 70 peer-reviewed manuscripts and is an instructor at NCSBN's International Center for Regulatory Scholarship. NCSBN is an independent nonprofit organization empowering and supporting nursing regulators across the world in their mandate to protect the public. As a global leader in regulatory excellence, NCSBN champions regulatory solutions to borderless healthcare delivery and supports nurses practicing to the full scope of their education, experience, and expertise. So welcome to the show, Brendan Martin. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Jonathan. How are you?
Good. So let's start off with this important topic. How has the situation changed for the U.S. nursing workforce since COVID-19, and what issues still are going on?
Yeah, so overall, we saw evidence of a workforce recovery coming from the emergency phase of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our analysis really pinpointed that it was largely due to a rebound among older, more experienced nurses who re-entered the profession following 2022. However, at the same time, we also saw that many of the same factors that nurses consistently cite as the drivers for their intent to leave the profession ultimately continued into the 2024 survey cycle.
Got it. And you did a survey of 800,000 nurses, is that right?
Yeah. So, the National Nursing Workforce Survey, we've been conducting this survey since 2013. We do it every 2 years or so. And so this is both the largest and most comprehensive survey of the U.S. nursing workforce in the country. And so what we do is we have surveyed over 800,000 nurses, but not just that, we also look across various license types. So we're one of the few entities, and really the only entity, that includes licensed practical and vocational nurses in our sampling plan. Then we obviously look at registered nurses. And then a smaller segment of the registered nurse population are what are known as advanced practice registered nurses. So those are individuals who in certain practice contexts can obviously practice a little bit more advanced form of care and oftentimes in an independent setting. So we look at kind of all levels. And then obviously the breadth of our outreach is kind of captured in the 800,000.
Sure, it sure is. So before I go on with questioning about the situation, tell us a little bit more about the National Council of the State Boards of Nursing. What is it? What do you folks do?
Yeah, so we're the national organization which really tries to provide coordinating services and support services to each individual states and jurisdictions state board of nursing. And so from a research perspective, what that means is we try to provide evidence-based research and findings to inform the practice of nursing regulation. So our lens is always from the perspective of patients. Our mission is one of patient safety. And so when we are thinking about how we do our research and what kind of findings and results that we're looking to distill, it's really through the lens of making sure that regulators at the state level and in Washington, D.C. are well prepared to essentially make sure that nurses are practicing to the top of their license and education and are well supported so that essentially that care at the patient, for the patient and at the bedside, remains of the utmost quality and that patient safety is really assured.
Got it. Thank you for explaining that. And if people want to learn more, they can go to ncsbn.org. That's the National Council of the State Boards of Nursing. So let's talk more about the survey results, Brendan. How many nurses left the workforce since 2022 in the pandemic? How bad is the situation?
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan from Go to Health. Here we are in March, and we don't want to think about it, but tax time is coming up. And I always like to say we need to take care of our financial health as well as our physical and mental health. And that's where Monarch software comes in, the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make our lives easier. Simplify your finances with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or your laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this tax season and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code GO2. Your mental health is improved when you can see your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop. I'm reviewing all my revenues and expenses from last year in a beautiful clean dashboard, and I'm about to share it with my accountant to prepare my tax return. That's a great load off my mind. Monarch keeps me focused on planning and hitting financial milestones, not just tracking my spending. Monarch gives me a complete picture, budgets, debt payoff timelines, savings goals, net worth, so I can make decisions that actually move the needle. And surprise, Monarch has all these AI tools built in, offering me 24/7 access to a financial coach, insights into my spending, and weekly recaps so I can stay on track. Monarch keeps me focused on planning ahead and hitting real financial milestones. As a Go to Health listener, you can ease your mental stress with Monarch. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple. Use code GO2 at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarch.com, code GO2. Help take the stress out of your life with Monarch.
Yeah, so approximately 138,000 nurses indicated that they left the workforce since 2022. And so when I talked about those structural kind of issues earlier, what I was really referring to is that 138,000 nurse segment really told us that their decision to exit the workforce was due to things like high workloads, short staffing, elevated or acute levels of burnout and stress, and to a lesser extent, but still notable, workplace violence and bullying, and even sometimes inadequate salary. So there's a multitude of factors.
Got it. And how many nurses intend to leave within the next 5 years? Is this a continuing problem?
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. So we had about 40% of the respondents to our survey indicate that they planned to either leave the nursing profession or retire in the next 5 years. So that's through 2029. A little bit more than the majority of that proportion comes from planned retirement. So it's really those two dual trends that we see within the results that give us a little bit of a pause when we think about how sustainable is the bump that we saw in kind of the workforce recovery in 2024. So yes, we did see a large proportion of kind of that older, more experienced nurse cohort come back off the sidelines. And that's unquestionably an immediate bounce for the workforce. Mm-hmm. But when we look at that cohort within our sample, we also recognize that they're reporting elevated intent to retire in the short to intermediate term too. So if that were to come to pass, I think that this would represent a little bit more of a moment in time rather than a sustained bump. So we would argue that policy is really important moving forward now to make sure that we head off, some of those folks ultimately making good on that intention and stepping away from the workforce again.
Sure. And with that degree of loss, how is the nurse workforce changing? Where are new nurses coming from? And is there going to be a real nursing shortage?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent question. And these are some of the real positive outcomes that emerge from our findings. So first of all, the front end of the funnel for nursing is very durable and sustained. So we have a great deal of interest in the nursing workforce. People feel a calling to this profession. And we see very regularly 150 to 200,000 new nurses entering the workforce every single year. Good. Part and parcel with that, some of the silver linings that we saw from this report, the 2024 national nursing workforce is both the most diverse and educated that we have ever tracked. So we have been running this survey since 2013. So that's saying something. Since 2015, the proportion of nurses who identify as Hispanic or Latino has doubled. We've seen a little bit more muted, but still incremental growth across racial categories as well, Black, African American, and Asian. Among registered nurses, 3/4 of them now report that their highest nursing credential is a baccalaureate degree or beyond. That's the highest level we've ever tracked. Mm-hmm. And I think critically, when we think about sustainable workforce tracking and getting at that issue that you just mentioned, which is the potential for a shortage, given that we know demand for healthcare is only increasing, I think critically, compared to the 2022 sample, we saw that the 2024 sample was a little bit older and a little bit more experienced. And the reason why I think that that's important is it creates some durable kind of mentoring pathways for some of these new career entrants. And I think that that's part of the solution here. We need to make sure that those nurses that are competent to enter practice, that are prepared and, feel this sense of calling to interpatient care remain in the workforce for the long haul. That's how we get to the point where it's sustainable workforce development.
Got it. And you mentioned before the diversity of new nurses coming in. What's the importance of this diversity? What's the significance of having a diverse workforce like you've described?
Yeah. So, there's longstanding evidence that diversity in the nursing workforce spurs greater consumption of healthcare. And so what we recognize is that as the diversity of the nursing workforce increases, it provides the kind of the setting or the context for more culturally competent care, where certain segments of the population might feel more comfortable interfacing with the healthcare system. And so it's a longstanding goal of the Institute of Medicine that, the healthcare workforce will diversify, that it'll become a little bit more like for like with the US population. We're not quite there yet. We do see that a little bit more representative in terms of the ranks of the practical and licensed vocational nurses. But among registered nurses, there's still progress to be made to make sure that we're kind of in line with the broader US demographic.
So, Brendan, what needs to happen to change the working conditions for nurses? I mean, what policy changes have to be made to reduce the stress, the overwork, the poor pay, the poor working conditions? What are some of the policies that you're pressing for that we need to be aware of to make nursing a viable profession for people?
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan from Go to Health. Here we are in March, and we don't want to think about it, but tax time is coming up. And I always like to say we need to take care of our financial health as well as our physical and mental health. And that's where Monarch software comes in, the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make our lives easier. Simplify your finances with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or your laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this tax season and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code GO2. Your mental health is improved when you can see your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop. I'm reviewing all my revenues and expenses from last year in a beautiful clean dashboard, and I'm about to share it with my accountant to prepare my tax return. That's a great load off my mind. Monarch keeps me focused on planning and hitting financial milestones, not just tracking my spending. Monarch gives me a complete picture, budgets, debt payoff timelines, savings goals, net worth, so I can make decisions that actually move the needle. And surprise, Monarch has all these AI tools built in, offering me 24/7 access to a financial coach, insights into my spending, and weekly recaps so I can stay on track. Monarch keeps me focused on planning ahead and hitting real financial milestones. As a Go to Health listener, you can ease your mental stress with Monarch. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple. Use code GO2 at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarch.com, code GO2. Help take the stress out of your life with Monarch.
I think you really hit on it with the question. There are so many factors that need to be addressed. It's short staffing, it's high workloads, it's elevated burnout and stress, it's inadequate salary at times for the responses of the nurses. Mm-hmm. I think that there is no one kind of silver bullet. What we would argue at NCSBN is that this is kind of a moment in time in which leaders across an array of sectors really need to come together to listen to the collective voices of nurses and to act. And so what does that mean? I mentioned earlier, our lane is kind of nursing regulation, but we also need our practice partners. When we think about employers, we need our educators, we need our policymakers, we need everybody coming together, because many of these issues that we're discussing today, short staffing, elevated workloads, burnout and stress, these are long-standing issues. And yes, they were absolutely exacerbated by the pandemic. But what we're seeing is that we're seeing some durability in that spike coming out of the pandemic. So now is a moment in time to really come together and bring all ideas to the table. I think that this is an all hands on deck kind of moment. And I think only in that context can we set ourselves up for sustainable workforce development.
Got it. And if you want to have influence and make change, who does NCSBN go to? Is it legislators? Is it hospital owners? Is it hospital executives? Where do you go to affect these changes?
So all of the above, I think everyone has skin in the game. My wife is a nurse of over 10 years. One of the jokes that we have is the one constant, the one universal is that one stage or another, we'll all be consumers of healthcare. So I think everyone has a kind of a stake in this. Yes. But when we think about the leaders, I think it's bringing everyone from across all of these sectors. It's legislative, it's education, it's regulation, it's practice, etc. I think everybody needs to be at the table because these issues are so varied. And at times they're so long-standing. They've really plagued the nursing workforce. And so I think it's imperative that we all come together now and that we work in concert, because the nurses are being quite deliberate and quite uniform in their feedback. And so I think we need to really listen to them and we need to act.
Good. So I want to thank you for being with us. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing at NCSBN. That's the National Council of the State Boards of Nursing. That's ncsbn.org. We've been talking with Brendan Martin, PhD. He's the research director at the National Council of the State Boards of Nursing. Thanks so much for being with us today, Brendan, and sharing this important information.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Good. And remember, everybody, you can subscribe to us at gotohealthmedia.com. You can watch us on YouTube and also listen to us on 8 podcast networks. Thanks for being with us today. Remember, as we say at the end of every show, go to health. Take care. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in this week to Go to Health Media. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks and another health expert next time. You can also catch the program on your favorite podcast platform. Until our next show, be sure to visit us on the web at gotohealthmedia.com and elevate your life.
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan from Go to Health. Here we are in March, and we don't want to think about it, but tax time is coming up. And I always like to say we need to take care of our financial health as well as our physical and mental health. And that's where Monarch software comes in, the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make our lives easier. Simplify your finances with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or your laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this tax season and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code GO2. Your mental health is improved when you can see your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop. I'm reviewing all my revenues and expenses from last year in a beautiful clean dashboard, and I'm about to share it with my accountant to prepare my tax return. That's a great load off my mind. Monarch keeps me focused on planning and hitting financial milestones, not just tracking my spending. Monarch gives me a complete picture, budgets, debt payoff timelines, savings goals, net worth, so I can make decisions that actually move the needle. And surprise, Monarch has all these AI tools built in, offering me 24/7 access to a financial coach, insights into my spending, and weekly recaps so I can stay on track. Monarch keeps me focused on planning ahead and hitting real financial milestones. As a Go to Health listener, you can ease your mental stress with Monarch. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple. Use code GO2 at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarch.com, code GO2. Help take the stress out of your life with Monarch.